It's Ernie.
Like to call the meeting of the Budget Review Committee to order. It's Wednesday, December 9th, 2020 at 7 p.m. via teleconference. As chairman of the Budget Review Committee, I find that due to the state of emergency declared by the governor as a result of COVID-19 pandemic, and in accordance with the governor's emergency order number 12, pursuant to Executive Order 2020-04, this public body is authorized to meet electronically. Please note that there is no physical location to observe and listen contemporaneously to this meeting, which is authorized pursuant to the governor's emergency order. However, in accordance with the emergency order, I'm confirming that we are providing public access of the meeting by telephone and additional access possibilities by video or other electronic means. To access by Zoom, please refer to the agenda or the city's website for the meeting link. To join by phone, dial 1-929-205-6099. The meeting ID is 874-0847-5829. And the passcode is 899544. The public may also view the meeting via channel 16. We previously gave notice to the public of the necessary information for accessing the meeting through public postings. Instructions have also been provided on the City of Nashua's website at www.nashuanh.gov and publicly noticed at the City Hall and the Nashua Public Library. If anyone has a problem accessing the meeting via phone or channel 16, please call 603-821-2049 and they will help you connect. In the event the public is unable to access the meeting via the methods mentioned, the meeting will be adjourned and rescheduled. Please note that all votes that are taken during the meeting are done by roll call vote. We'll start the meeting by taking a roll call attendance. Would the clerk please call the roll?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Alderwoman at Large Shoshana Kelly. Absent. Alderman at Large Michael O'Brien is present. Alderman at Large Laurie Wilshire.
I am here. I can hear you and I'm alone.
Alderman Ernest Jetty.
I'm here. I'm alone. I can hear the proceedings.
Alderman Schmidt. Alderman Schmidt is absent. Alderman Clemens. Alderman Clemens is absent. Chairman Alderman Dowd.
I am here. I can hear the proceedings and I'm alone practicing social distancing. I think Ben was on mute. He'll now sign in.
Yeah, I'm having internet connection trouble. So I'm gonna log off and come back on.
Okay.
I'm by myself and I can't hear anything, so I'm gonna log off and come back on.
All right.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 members present. Thank you.
All right. So we have a quorum. The next item on the agenda is public comment. Is there anyone from the public that would wish to provide comment on tonight's agenda? Hearing and seeing no one, we'll move on to communications.
There are none.
Unfinished business,
There is none.
new business resolutions.
Before us this evening is R-20-97, approving the cost items of a collective bargaining agreement between the National Public Library Board of Trustees and the National Public Library Employees, AFT, FPE, local number 4831, from July 1st, 2020 through June 30th, 2023, and authorizing a related transfer. Mr. Chairman, I would like to make a motion to recommend final passage by roll call.
Motion on the floor is to recommend final passage of R-20-097 to the full Board of Aldermen. Is there someone here that will present the contract? Attorney Clark, are you going to?
Yeah, I would like to do a short outline of the cost items, and then I turn it to Director McCormick to fill in a little more of the details related to the salary study.
Okay,
All right. So yes, actually, the whole negotiating team is here tonight. It was myself, Director McCormick, and Linda LaFlamme, who's the president of the Board of Trustees for the library. And then I also see Weston Bent is listening in. He's the current union president for the library employees. So if I could go through, I did send a memo. I've been trying to do that because I know it makes it easier to sort of at least understand what the cost items are, and then you can go look at the contract rather than try to flip through it and find the red lines. So just to briefly go through the cost item changes that we have tonight in the library contract. In Article 9, work week and work schedule, we added some language relating to remote access work and curbside pickup, some of the changes that have been happening due to the pandemic. And the only element of that seemed potentially to be a cost item was that we did provide that for remote access work, necessary technology would be provided to the employee if they needed it. In Article 14, paid leaves, with respect to holidays, if an employee, if one of their regular work days was on the holiday, the prior contract language said that they would get paid straight time for that, as if they worked a regular day. And so what ended up happening is that those employees would almost get paid like an extra day that week. So instead, we're going to make it that the employee would get a different day off during that same pay period. So essentially their pay would stay, the same for that week. In Article 15, the article on unpaid leaves, we reduced the amount of time that the city would pay the city's portion of the health, dental, and life insurance premiums during that unpaid leave. In the tuition reimbursement article, we broadened the degree programs a little bit that would be eligible for the partial reimbursement. It used to say just required degrees, but now it will also be for relevant degrees. And we increased the maximum amount one employee could receive if there was money left over at the end of the fiscal year. In the health insurance article, the union agreed to make the changes to the current HMO that the mayor and the administration have been looking for. Those will be effective 7/1/21, similar to some of the other contracts you've recently seen. And we put in the language on the high deductible health plan. So the insurance language was changed to be what the mayor has been looking for. In the safety and health article, we added some language related to unanticipated emergency library closures, sort of setting out some expectations for the employees based on how long that was going to be. And again, some of the issues that came up related to this pandemic, this union was a little more interested in some of the other ones about talking about some of those and planning, hopefully if it never happens again, but there was some language that would help guide what happens if anything happened in the future. And then it is a 3-year contract. And then the remainder of the cost items are really in the wage article. So based on some issues the library had identified with hiring and retention and learning about what other library staff was getting paid, Director McCormick undertook a salary study. And then we showed it to the union and negotiated on it. And we're gonna, there's a plan in place to adjust employee wages for fiscal 21 pursuant to that salary study, and then a sort of formula on how to calculate where to put people in those new ranges, taking into account their years of seniority. So I'm going to have Jen talk more about that in 1 minute. I'll just finish up by saying, and then in the subsequent 2 years, fiscal 22 and 23, we have 2.25% general wage increases. So that's sort of the overview of the cost item changes, and now I'll turn to Director McCormick.
Director McCormick?
Great. Thank you, Dory. Hi, everybody. It's good to see you all, sort of. I wanted to clarify one point Dory made and just add another item that I think is of interest. So related to the holiday pay, I think to clarify, in the current contract, if a holiday falls on an employee's regular day off, so anyone who was lucky enough to arrange to have Mondays off as part of their regular work schedule, when a holiday falls on that day off currently, they could get paid for that day and still work 5 days. So essentially have a 6-day work week. So we changed that so that if a holiday falls on your regular day off, you would just take a different day off during the week. And the other item related to compensation is the way Sunday hours are compensated. Previously, staff who worked on a Sunday would be eligible to take double those hours off during the same work week. So a 4-hour shift on Sunday would mean you got a whole 8-hour day off during the week. And we would have to obviously fill in with other staff. So one concession our staff made is they have given up that, and Sundays would be compensated either at time and a half pay, or they could earn compensatory time at time and a half, at that time and a half 1.5 rate. So the salary study, as Dory indicated, the board and I identified a problem. We were posting positions, and a good example is the supervisor of youth services position. That's one of the latest professional positions we've posted, and we got almost no applicants. I had individuals who know me personally reach out about the position to tell me the salary is just too low. We had a candidate who went through the whole interview process, and we made her an offer, and she withdrew because the salary was too low. And we knew anecdotally that it was an issue based on the quality of applicants and the number of staff that we had leave kind of for greener pastures. So at the board's instruction, I did a salary study, and that salary study, we started that a year ago. It's been a long story. So I think you may have seen in the packet, there was kind of a narrative. So we identified communities to look at based on the communities that Larry Budrow, the HR director, had used when he did a review of the unaffiliated salaries a couple of years ago. And then we added some other communities that were our direct competitors, like Merrimack, Lowell, Derry. So we had 12 communities that we looked at, or 11 or 12 communities that we looked at. And as a result of that study, it was obvious that our salaries were below par in every single grade in the contract. I did a little bit of quick arithmetic today. So on average, our starting salary for all of the grades of the contract was almost $8,400 below the median of all the other communities. So we took, in order to identify the new salary ranges for the salary study, we took a median. So for grade 8, we took a median of all the other communities and added 2%. That was how we identified where kind of the industry is, where our target for where we should be. And on average, our starting salaries were about $8,400 below that. So that was a little bit discouraging. So I've lost track of myself, sorry. So we identified the new salary ranges in the library contract, different than some other contracts. Those are actually hiring ranges different than the salary grid that's in the unaffiliated. So that range is what we use to place people when we hire new staff. So the way I approached it, once we identified the salaries that would be appropriate, we looked at every individual working in the library and placed them per grade in the new range that we'd identified. And we did that using a formula that used their years of service, and we adjusted that according to, because we have some staff who've been at work at the NPL for 43 years. So we had to do a little bit of, we had to cap it, and we did some adjustment. And we ended up with a new salary grid. I don't hate to say that, but a new set of corrected salaries for our staff that accurately represents the length of service at the library and what competitive salaries would be for their particular position. Excuse me. In one sort of anomaly is our IT coordinator. We, instead of placing him, most libraries don't have a Weston, an IT coordinator. So rather than put him in a grade with other librarians or library related staff, we looked at what this city job descriptions and salaries are for the city's IT department. And we identified a position for our IT coordinator that was similar to something the city's IT department. And so that one position has its own grade. That's our new grade 7. And as a result, with the corrected salaries, I think the number that you're kind of considering tonight is that cost of year 1, the cost of the adjustments to get our current staff in line with where they ought to be. Cost is $174,000. We'd anticipated the salary study, and I was able to budget $116,000 in this fiscal year in contingency. So there is a bit of a difference, and we are able to make up that cost in a couple of ways. First of all, by leaving the page positions vacant. We laid off all of our pages at the beginning of the pandemic. And we've postponed hiring the supervisor of youth services, and we'll continue to postpone that probably until February. And that combined with leaving the pages vacant, page positions vacant, leaves us with a very comfortable margin to cover that year 1 cost. So I'm happy to answer questions. It's kind of a lot to absorb if you haven't been looking at it forever.
Okay, so questions? Alderman Wiltshire?
Thank you. Jen, good job on the salary study and looking to bring those positions up to where they should be. It makes
Thanks.
sense. It really makes sense. And I think you did a really good job. Sounds like a fair contract to me. So thank you.
Thank you.
And your negotiating team.
Yeah, no, the whole story is in Appendix D in the contract.
Mhm.
Alderman Clements?
Thank you. I said this the other night about a different contract, but I mean it across the board. And what I said was, when you're comparing Nashua, you should be comparing it because exactly the reason why you did, which is we're not doing good enough. Because we want to be the best. We want to be the best everywhere. We want to be competitive with our salaries. So, you know, I want to be compared. I don't want to be compared to the lowest paid cities. I want to be up there, you know, in the middle at the very, very least. So I am very happy to hear that this contract is taking care of that, putting these hardworking employees into higher grade. You know, there's always a silver lining to every story, and I guess the silver lining here is that we were able to make up some money because of COVID-19. So, you know, you take it where you can get it, I guess. No, I'm happy to support this, and I look forward to it going forward. Thank you.
Any other questions? Alderman Jettie?
Yes, I too want to commend the library director and the negotiating team. I really appreciated seeing the salary adjustment narrative. Comparing us to other, similar communities. I think this is a good example for all of our departments and unions to come with us with this kind of information. I hope that others follow this example. It's information that's very valuable for us in judging the appropriateness of contracts and what we're paying our employees. And I appreciate your, being able to, the resulting increase in the first year that you were able to, manage a way of funding that in your existing budget. So I think this is, very, very good, very, something that I hope we can all support. Thank you.
Anyone else? Comments? Ms. Laflamme?
Yes, I just would like to commend Jen for the thoroughness of the salary study that kicked all of this off, because she not only looked at local New Hampshire towns around us, but she looked south of the border, which is, as you all know, a lot of our competition. And in addition, I think it's important to say on the record that although everyone working at the library just about receives a raise as a result of this salary study and contract, it is not a simple, everybody gets the same amount. There was a lot of work both on our side and on the union side of the negotiating table, trying to do this in a way that was equitable and put everyone at about the level we wanted them to be in comparison with the other folks in those positions. So there was a lot of thought behind the scenes in that little synopsis you got. And I'm very proud of the whole team, administrative and library staff on this project. So
Thank you. Anyone else? I really appreciate that work and what appeared in Appendix D. Again, having echoed what the other aldermen said, that helps a lot. Attorney Clark, you did a great job there in detailing all of the cost changes in the paragraphs in your memo. Again, that's helpful, especially when we have new aldermen, because we only have authority to speak up on cost items, not anything else. So that part was good. And the looking at the equity across the board from the study was very well done. And I agree with Alderman Jettie that we ought to do that on all our contracts. Anyone else? Seeing none, would the clerk please call the roll?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Alderman Clemmons,
Yes.
Alderman Jettie,
Yes.
Alderman Wilshire,
Yes.
Alderman O'Brien votes yes. Alderman Dowd.
Yes.
Mr. Chairman, you have 5 yeas, 0 nays.
And that motion carried. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, everyone.
Yep.
thanks.
So Alderman O'Brien, new business ordinances.
There is none.
All right, I've had discussions with the people that are involved in the city in the tabled items, and there's none to take off the table this evening. General discussion. Anyone? Public comment. Is there any members of the public that wish to speak? Seeing none. Remarks by Alderman. I think we Had a relatively short meeting for a change. Some of the ones that we've had lately have been pretty long. By the way, last night after I got off the Alderman meeting, the zoning meeting is still going on, by the way. Possible, we don't need a non-public. Is there a motion, Alderman O'Brien?
Yes, there is, Mr. Chairman. I would like to make a motion to adjourn by roll call.
Call the roll, please.
Alderman Clemmons,
Yes.
Alderman Jettie,
Yes.
Alderman Wilshire,
Yes.
Alderman O'Brien votes yes. Alderman Dowd,
Yes,
5 yeas, 0 nays.
and we are adjourned at 7:25 PM. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Nice work,
Good night,
Dory.
everyone.
Good night, everybody.